Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Can't believe I'm still doing this tonight. It's 12:27 in the morning, going to Thursday morning, but here I am, opening up my vault and opening up the graphics. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, back here yet again for another pre-recorded review of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I almost said September for some reason. I'm rushing to my birthday. This was from the April 15th, 2024 edition of Raw, and it took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And of course, the big thing that was hyped up for the show for sure was the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. One second. So sorry, I tried to answer this text really quick. But yeah, it was really hyped up around the show. Montreal was a great crowd as well. I thought the show was actually pretty good. There was a lot of things that I really liked. I was entertained by. We unfortunately, though, got some bad news, and a champion had to vacate the belt. And we will apparently be crowning a new champion next Monday on Raw. Who that'll be, I'm not sure yet. I don't think we really got any advertisements of who was actually going to be in the match or what the match exactly is going to be. But we're going to have to find out next week on Raw. But what they did kind of set up, I really, really, really liked. But without any further ado, let's get right into it and talk about it, because that's how we opened up the show. So it was rumored early Sunday or Monday that there was rumors that Rhea Ripley legitimately did get hurt. Something with her AC. Let me look up again what exactly her injury is. So I saw something about Rhea Ripley injury. Okay. It says here she suffered a shoulder injury that's forced her out of competition for a few months. And it is said that they think Rhea was injured whenever she hit the wall from her attack from Liv Morgan last week. So I like that they kind of did that, because immediately when I saw that, I'm thinking, that kind of plays into the long-term story I was hoping for Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Because I still personally think Liv Morgan should have been, of course, the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley, based off her story about this whole revenge tour, and there's history. But I felt like, again, that Liv was starting to get it, but still needs a little more oomph in the character. Once she has that, I think she could be set to win the women's world title. And based off what we got tonight, that could be happening as soon as next week. Because Rhea Ripley came out, Adam Pearce was in the ring, and her arm was in a sling. And she says, we all know what's going on. After Liv attacked her last week, she's been told she's going to be on the bench for quite a few months. She's also been told she needs to vacate the world title, which pisses her off because it's one of the things that mean most. and we got a bullshit chant and a thank you mommy chant. I love the shot whenever she laid the title down, and you can tell that she was getting emotional, but she was trying to stay in character. Like the evilness in her eyes, like when she looked up and she's trying to, like, stay, like in character, but she's obviously about to start breaking down, crying in a second. I thought she looked vicious there for sure. And everybody, of course, is very behind her. But she calls out Liv Morgan and says she'd have dropped her where she stood, but this is a warning to whoever wins the title. When she comes back, she's coming back for blood. And of course, as she's getting ready to leave, Liv is coming out and security is holding her back. And then, of course, Rhea tries to get to security as well, and they try to break free. So they get Liv back, but Rhea, just for matters, gets one last headbutt in there on the security, which takes her down, and then she basically had like a backstage where she said goodbye to the Judgment Day, and she is off and gone for a few months. So how long it is, I don't know. I thought I read somewhere 3 months, but if it's a little more serious, it could be a little bit longer. I think it all depends if she's going to need surgery or not. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But of course, there was a promo from Liv Morgan later that I think was starting to tease a possible double turn, maybe, which they may have to go, even though just a few weeks ago people were all chanting for Liv Morgan to get that shot. But if they're using this injury to get Liv heat, which I hate to say this also, this may have been the best thing to happen for Liv Morgan, because it kind of plays in a little more with the storyline of this revenge tour that Liv is on, and she kind of got her revenge. She took out Rhea Ripley. But the promo Liv cut later, we'll get to that in a little bit. First, we then have the return, since August, I believe it was, of the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, who's back. And not only is he back, he came out to his old theme song, Written in My Face, which I'm glad. I mean, they still did the usual, entrance in the dark, and then once the lights came on, they started playing Written in My Face, and I popped. I was excited because I honestly love that song. I prefer it more than the Hellfire one they gave when he first turned heel in 2015, if I'm being honest. But yeah, and he looks good too, I would say. He took on Ivar, had a pretty physical match. He was all fired up and whatnot. And he won with a bro kick, as expected him to do, because he likes to kick people's heads off. He likes to fight. He's the Celtic Warrior. Fella! But kind of looked like a nostalgia Sheamus coming back, which I thought was, cool. And again, I do like they brought back Written in My Face. I love that theme song a lot more than Hellfire. I'm a little surprised, though, he didn't come back as a heel. I don't know why. I really thought they were going to turn him heel when he came back. But he's still a face for now. We'll see where he goes. Probably depends on what brand he lands on, but we'll see what eventually happens to Sheamus, who also had, of course, a classic of a match with Gunther for an IC title at Clash at the Castle in 2022. Eventually, he should win that. I think that's the only title Sheamus has not won is the IC title. But we'll wait and see at some point. Triple H then comes out, makes his entrance, and Adam Pearce is there in the ring. I'm like, what's going on here? But then I saw that there was a table and there was the black cloth over top. I'm like, we're getting new tag titles, which looks like it. Hunter first talks of WrestleMania being the beginning of a new era, and Adam Pearce mentions how Raw and SmackDown deserve new titles worthy of that era, and they bring out the Awesome Truth and claim their new belts. Triple H congratulates them, shakes hands, and says they're going to represent this brand. They need to do it in a way that represents the new era. Hold on, I'm a little too far here. Oh, come on. I'm trying to read my notes, but it's page is being weird. Come on. Where was this at? Come on. So Miz and R-Truth do come out again, and they're told that they will no longer be called the Raw Tag Team Champions, but the WWE World Tag Team Champions. Reveals the belts. Not bad. I mean, they're kind of like a somewhat modified version of the World Heavyweight Championship, which is different. I mean, it's not super different, but, you know, it's fine. Better than just the color-coded belts and whatnot. Still the round plates, gold and black leather. But then R-Truth, of course, starts making the segment goofy but funny, and he's thinking that Triple H has performed a magic trick. And they also do a little back and forth where he thinks that Triple H is actually Tommaso Ciampa. Because, you know, he thinks DIY is D-Generation X, and Tommaso Ciampa is basically another Triple H, and Johnny Gargano is another Shawn Michaels. Miz tries to explain in French, and apparently R-Truth knows French. I didn't know that. Triple H asks if he can leave and presents him with new belts. Then Adam Pearce tells them both, why did you make the boss leave the ring? And Truth does not comprehend, and Pearce says the only thing left is to determine a number one contender for those titles. So they have a match with a triple threat, DIY, Creed Brothers, and New Day. Fun match as well. Again, DIY, again, is definitely, you know, like, found their stride. They just have to have their moment. Creed Brothers still, you know, finding a character, but are phenomenal to watch in the ring, especially Julius. I mean, I like Brutus too. Julius, though, I feel like is another freak athlete type thing. And, you know, New Day, even though, again, I really think they need to do something different, they still put on fun matches when need be. And all three of these teams had some really great back and forth chemistry. I like the ending, how it was like a bunch of like finishes teased, and it was just so like fast paced. I think Xavier Woods did his diving elbow. I think the Creed Brothers went for the Brutus bomb, but it was denied. And based off of how, like, you know, one maneuver like flopped from the other, DIY was able to sneak in the meat in the middle, and they got on Xavier Woods, and I guess they're the new tag. They're number one contenders, so Regeneration X will have a match together, which of course is Awesome Truth and DIY. But again, Regeneration X, I think it faces off next week on Raw for the World Tag Titles. Cool. I don't think they should win. Again, I think you should give Awesome Truth maybe just a wee bit more time. At some point, though, you gotta give the belts to DIY, I think. Drew McIntyre is backstage chuckling. He gets mad and kicks the monitor without saying a word. So obviously, he's upset about what happened at WrestleMania. We'll talk about it more later. Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell took on Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. Again, it's still, you know, developing this new heel character from Candice LeRae, who is just taking advantage of, like, you know, finding Achilles' heels and whatnot. And she's trying to get Indi Hartwell to kind of, like, embrace that more, like, you know, cheating side and whatnot. And Indi actually did. She then, you know, didn't lag. She held back, and Indi decided to cheat as well, and Candice and Indi do win the match. And it looks like Indi Hartwell is going back to being a heel as well, which I will do, of course, a turn alert for. And, of course, there is 2 new turn alerts going to be from this week's episode of Raw. So interesting. I'm still liking what they're doing with Candice. Now Indi's joining. They need a new theme song, though. And new graphics. I'm sorry. Well, I guess the theme you might be able to still get away with, but it's still, like, to me, just feels random. I mean, it's like a modified version of, like a combination of Johnny Gargano's old theme and the Poison Pixie theme or whatnot. I don't know. And the graphics, it just seems very, very plain, I feel like. But, you know, it is what it is. But we'll see where this goes. I still think eventually, you know, they're going to probably win the tag titles. I am starting to think, though, they should give Candice as Miss Money in the Bank this year. That's my favorite right now to see win the Miss Money in the Bank is Candice. But we will see, of course, what happens when we get to Money in the Bank in a few months. Damian Priest, of course, is kind of like taken over as like leader for Judgment Day since Rhea's hurt. And Dominic's going to be taking on Andrade. And then Finn Balor wants to focus on him getting the tag titles back. But Priest tells him he needs to focus on teaching Jey Uso a lesson. The meaning of loss. And Balor's on board with that. That's later on in the show. There's some interview footage of Chad Gable getting ready for his match, hyping up as very big. Andrade then beats Dominic Mysterio in a solid match. Afterwards, JD tries to attack him, but Ricochet made the save. Not sure where they're going with Ricochet this, although he did have that very nice 450 or 630 splash on Bronson Reed through the table in the Fatal 4 last week. Still love that he looked over at his fiancée Samantha Irvin and said, "I'm sorry for doing something crazy," and does it anyway, which I thought was priceless. Jey Uso's interview backstage after they did a recap of what happened with Jimmy Uso on Friday and the WWE debut of Tama Tonga. And he's asked about how dangerous the bloodline still is, and that he told Jimmy to come with him, but for right now, he's got to stay focused on his match, which he's going to be fighting Damian Priest at almost at Judgment Day, at Backlash, but tonight he's got Finn Balor. Before we got there, though, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven had a match against Katana Chance and Kayden Carter, and surprisingly, they won. So, not sure why they won the match, since they were getting, revenge. I thought it was a little random having to win, but we'll see where it goes, whatever. And it was the first time also, like, even from SmackDown this past Friday, it's been a while since they had Piper and Chelsea compete in matches. Piper was kind of absent for a few weeks. I hope she's doing okay. Didn't she have some, health issues recently as well? Something to keep an eye out for. Here is the interview where I think it was hinting at a double turn. But Liv Morgan was backstage, and she was pleased with herself. She's confused, though, so why is everybody mad at her? And says, where's the sympathy for her when she was put on the shelf because of Rhea? It's an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, shoulder for shoulder. Rhea got what she deserved. So, yeah, she's kind of embracing the hate somewhat, no pun intended. Well, not trying to throw it back to the John Cena and Kane feud in 2012. But, yeah, like I said, I thought it was a brief promo, and I think it really planted the seeds well for a possible double turn down the line. Will that be the case? We'll have to see when Rhea gets back. The undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes comes out. And he is talking a little bit of French. He talks about how The Rock seems to actually have a lot more than one match left in him. And maybe he will bleed again. But no amount of preparation or training can change the fact that if Cody's going to bleed, Rock will bleed with him. He's a little confused about the addition of Tama Tonga by order by the Tribal Chief, where there was no Tribal Chief to be found. But he also wants to bring somebody who knows a lot about the bloodline. And he introduces main event Jey Uso. Jey comes out, talks a big game, dropping a lot of nicknames, says he's going to win the title and he doesn't need Cody in his corner. Cody accepts this, hugs him, and of course, before he leaves, this was kind of the moment where I'm like, okay, Cody's definitely going to SmackDown. This is kind of like them, ending their, little story together as business has been done here with them. And before he leaves, Cody tells Jey he has one more thing to say. Until he didn't say he didn't say happy trails, but he goes, until we yeet again. Happy trails to you till we yeet again. So kind of like the end to that story. Again, Cody's probably going to SmackDown. Jay's probably staying on Raw, but they're going their own separate paths. Nia Jax was interviewed backstage saying she doesn't care about Rhea. Nobody will stop her from taking the title. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Finn Balor faced main event Jey Uso. Match was fine for what it was. Jey, though, does get the win with a With the diving splash, and afterwards, Jay exits through the crowd, escaping a beatdown, and runs up the concourse, where he runs into Sami Zayn when he's exiting the building. And Sami's looking up at the building, and Jay says, "What's he looking at?" Sami managed out 25 years ago. The first show that he ever saw was in this building. And now he's here as a champion. And he wants to walk in the same way he did all those years ago. And then they had this really nice shot following Sami Zayn as he entered the building, going through Montreal, and everybody giving him like a hero's welcome. Like he kind of like made his entrance like the Shield would some ways, but of course to his own music. But it was like a homecoming hero's welcome, which I thought was awesome. And then before Chad Gable came out, Bronson Reed shows up and says whoever wins, he's got next, and he's gonna challenge the winner. So we have Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. And I thought, again, it was another phenomenal match. Chad Gable, again, continues to have some really underrated, underappreciated, overlooked matches. Some great counters. But, of course, like most Sami Zayn matches, they have the emotions in there. They have, of course, last time Sami had a title match in Montreal, he flubbed whenever he faced Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber 2023. And emphasizing on his family being there and whatnot, and some great counters, great close near falls and whatnot. In the end, though, Sami Zayn does win with the Haluva kick. Afterwards, of course, he makes sure to give Chad Gable a sign of respect and acknowledges him as well, raises his hand, and then Sami goes to the floor and he celebrates with his friends and his family. He's about to celebrate with his wife, but then Chad freaking Gable snaps and basically pulls Sami away from his wife and hits a German suplex on him, rams him through the post, rams the announce desks, and ankle locks him hanging from the turnbuckles as the show went off the air. Great match. I don't know how I feel about Chad being a heel. I don't know how I feel. Again, I still gotta do the turn alert, but I mean, if they were gonna do a heel turn, that was the time to do a heel turn. Because Sami Zayn was gonna be getting a hero's welcome, and of course, Chad Gable, who keeps coming up short, and then of course, which don't make me think of Shorty G, which that's not happening anytime soon because Triple H is in charge, thank God. Come up short, and Sami taking the spot, and of course Gable's able to train Sami to win, but he couldn't get the job done. So now he's the heel, showing a little bit of a dirtier side. What's that going to be? I don't know. We'll talk about it more though when we get to the turn alert. But yeah, that was Raw. Great match, great ending, and a great show overall to set up some things going forward. I gave the show a B+. I really thought it was good. The crowd was excellent and everything. And yeah, great stuff all around. So I know I kind of flew through the results again, but again, it is late. It is I am tired, but I at least wanted to get my thoughts out there. Again, if there's no special thumbnail up yet, again, it's just because I still want to get the reviews up, but I will, of course, get the graphics fixed and everything tomorrow for the thumbnails and the descriptions and whatnot. So that will come, of course, tomorrow probably. But that does it, guys. That's my review again of Raw. Gave it a B+. What are your guys' thoughts this week's episode of Raw? And also, if you keep asking, what are your guys' thoughts on these brand new graphics as well? Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure also to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. Get some sleep, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!